you're trying to find your kid. It's your kid, right? You're going to
Have an
talk.
attorney on speed dial, no matter where
Yes.
you are in life. Know an
Yeah.
attorney and have them on speed dial.
And let me go into that just a really quick, because there's like, you got to unpack this whole thing. When they say that, and my case is a caricature of this, because these Keystone cops did not know what they were doing. What they're doing when they say stop talking is all they're looking for is discrepancies in the things you say. You say 1 o'clock, then the next thing you say 2 o'clock, maybe even do it a third time. Maybe you say 3 o'clock. It doesn't have anything to do with proving your guilt or innocent. They're going to use that against you.
Yeah.
Good cops they look for things, but it's not always just things like that. These cops were so bad when they first showed up on scene. I said, when I was describing my night with the police, I mentioned our bed as her bed, and then I immediately switched it to our bed. That is an inconsistency. They use that in final arguments. The final that hey, look at him. He just said her bed, and then he switched it to our bed. What does that fucking mean? They don't know. They don't know.
In case y'all didn't know,
the book tells them, look for inconsistencies. That's what you need. There's an inconsistency. That's proof that I murdered my wife. Is because I said, hey, well, we went to go to sleep in her bed. I mean, our bed. What is that? It's not.
Well, in case you didn't know, attorneys, kind of do a little bit of the same thing. Like, we harp on words and the meaning of words, right? Like the definitions of words, and everyday language of words isn't the same as attorney language, right? Like how things are written. So yes, they're going to pick apart everything you say, and it's your attorney's job to turn it around and pick it apart.
And it wasn't really some of the things that they would bring up like that. My attorney didn't even address it because it was so weak. Literally, it was that weak. I mean, they had a troubled marriage, and that's evidence of a troubled marriage. No, it's not. It's not fucking evidence, and it's not evidence that he fucking killed his wife. If that's the shit you're going to bring to trial, if you have an attorney like Diane, she's going to tear it apart because it doesn't mean anything.
I'm glad
but
you
these
had
cops and these prosecutors, that's the type of shit you're going to get. You know what I mean? It's just it's not strong evidence. It's not direct evidence. It's just circumstantial nonsense. And they weren't even very good at like, okay, that might mean something weird. He said her bed, and then quickly switched it to our bed. What does it mean? They didn't even bother to tell you what it meant because they didn't have any. They didn't have any idea what it meant. All they know is their training tells them to look for inconsistencies.
Right.
So that was an inconsistency.
Even if it was her bed, even if you slept on the couch or in the recliner, like my dad and my mom didn't, and I saw in the chat someone else said.
There's always that the people that compare their what they would have done, that couldn't have happened because this is what goes on in my life. That and more of that stuff that doesn't go anywhere.
People don't necessarily always sleep in the same bed. Like my parents didn't. My dad snored, so he fell asleep in the recliner.
And that type of evidence.
On my mom's bed, my mom's bed.
I think that type of evidence works with people like that don't have the ability to like step out of their own shoes and put themselves in someone else's position because they just don't have the intellect. They don't have the capacity to do something like that. So that type of evidence works for them. And if you get a smart jury, people are smart enough to like can conceptualize not being yourself and being someone else. And how would you fucking know that maybe he doesn't want to go in the woods and search for his wife? Well, I would have. So therefore, he's guilty. It's like. It's silly.
You never know what you will do in that situation until you're in that situation. And that's what I wish people would think about. Like, you don't know what your reaction is going to be to anything.
Right.
Like you just don't know. I always said if my husband ever cheated on me, I would divorce him. And then my husband cheated on me and I was crushed. And I was like, I want to save my family. So you just don't know.
And you just think that people would be smart enough to realize that at some point you grow up and you get older and you look around, you're, okay, I get this now. This isn't kid shit anymore. I mean, how can people not know that there's, and for the point, I guess it was that was part of, I mean, it's pretty important what you say in final argument. You know what I'm saying? Right.
1000%.
I mean, and for them, part of their final argument was he mentioned their bed as her bed. And then he quickly switched it to our bed as if it was fucking evidence. And then I would look at my lawyer and I go, what are they talking about? And then my lawyers just shake their fucking head at me like they
Yeah.
don't know what they're doing.
Well, that's what they have.
And you know how dangerous it is to give this kind of power to people that are that stupid. It's dangerous. I mean, to bring a case like this to trial, everybody should realize how dangerous everything is now. If they can convict a guy like me of murder and bring me to trial where I have to spend all my money, my reputation is destroyed. Look at me, I'm homeless. If they can just do this randomly for their own gain, it's really fucking dangerous, right?
This is off topic a little bit, but so when I was in law school, I went to the Innocence Conference, and I met Amanda Knox, who was wrongfully convicted of